Today's masterclass, the specific discussion is going to be driven around how to overcome inconsistent income with massive cash flow. And the reason why that's a very important topic for me is because most entrepreneurs, especially real estate agents, they don't run a business to where they can have predictable income and they live on great months and poor months or low months. And the goal with our business when we own it is to be able to predict the outcome. And one of the most keen or important ways, the safest way to predict our outcome is to drive activity. So, in other words, though we're used to maybe monitoring and getting paid on our successful results, what I would recommend is to shift this if you're not crushing it and if you're not running a consistent income business, then I would shift your focus from being result dependent to activity dependent and then graduate to just celebrating the results. And the reason why is because sometimes we either take for granted or we don't recognize how much each activity is that generates the income of our results. And I'll go into some specifics, but in general, calls, door knocks, handshakes, conversations, each one of those have a value to us. And depending on how many we run, that value will differ. So for example, depending on the markets, if you are in a average $900,000 price point market, then your conversations, each conversation would have a higher yield than those that are in like a $300,000 price point area. But specifically, I'm talking about every conversation, not the ones that lead to a sale, not the one that leads to a client. I'm talking about every single seed planting conversation has a value. Like if you guys have ever heard the term of go for no, or the more no's you get, you lead to a yes. It's the same concept, but the difference is you need to have a value to every activity item. So specifically, do you guys, whoever wants to in the chat, so I can help you in your business, share with me what your top either 1 to 3 activities are to drive results, whether it be door knocks, networks, mailers, phone calls, referral base, center of influence, sphere of influence, whatever it is. Some of us should be doing all of them. Few of us might be doing just a couple of them. But in each one of those, you want to break it down to either going back in the last 3 months, the last 6 months, the last year, to see what your metrics are. So from the money I've made from this activity item, how much is each activity making me? I brought it down to the point to where every door knock, every phone call in our office was yielding about $2.25. So though $2.25 doesn't sound like a lot of money, our agents were striving to make 300 dials a day because 600 bucks was the least that we wanted to make as agents per day of income. And if you do the math, 600 bucks a day, that's not bad, right? We're making some good money. So circle dialing condo buildings, I love that. Thank you for participating, by the way, in the chat. I'll go back and forth to it when I can. Let's dive in and speak about specific strategies and action items that we can apply, notes, and then you guys can just simply unmute yourselves and interrupt me if there's anything that you want to go over in detail. First thing that you want to do is you want to know your pipeline value. So pipeline value, specifically what I mean by that is take, for example, how much is in your current pipeline? Let's just say $10 million. In California, where I'm at, our average price point is give or take 750 to 900,000 on the low end, in my opinion. So in your market, it'll differ. But let's say you have a 10 million pipeline. You want to take that and multiply it by your closing rate, and you want to know your closing rate. And if you're new, we'll go over some other areas that you'll have the metrics for. But let's just say you have a 60% closing rate. I know on this call, some of us are 90% closers, right? Or 85% closers. But let's say you have a 60% closing rate, then you already know that you're expected to generate $6 million of volume from your current pipeline. By knowing these numbers, you're able to have a greater predictability of what's going to come in at the end of that week, that month, that quarter. And when you can predict your income, you remove the stress of trying to worry about, I got to make X amount of dollars by X day. And by the way, team, for those of you guys that don't know me, we've never connected, reach out to me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active on. Not only will I make sure to follow you back, but anything that I share will sometimes come of value. And I also support almost everyone that I'm connected with on that platform. The next thing you want to do is you want to know your conversion in your funnel, in your lead process. So specifically, how many leads you have, how many of those leads you're used to converting to appointments. And if you guys haven't been doing this for a long time, then just at least go back to 1 quarter and start to measure it. But how many leads you have, how many appointments you're converting from those leads, and then from those appointments, how many clients you're converting, and then from the clients, how many closings you have. This is very important. These KPIs, these metrics, once you have these different data points that I'm going to give you, you're going to be able to predict, hey, if I do this quarter, I'm pretty certain with a very small degree of error, how much income I'm going to make next quarter. So in that example that I just gave you, we'll use 100 leads. From 100 leads, we should be able to convert at least 30 appointments. So one out of every three on the low, you should be able to convert to an appointment. And if you guys are wondering how we have such a high conversion rate, if that's high for you, I'll tell you. And then from 30 appointments, we're going to get 15 clients. So from 30, half of them we're going to convert to clients. And then from those 15, we're going to close 10. And if you're wondering, well, Sina, if you have 15 clients, what's the difference between the clients and the closings? Well, a lot of times, or not a lot, but at least 30% of the time, you might have a listing that you either don't close, that doesn't sell, or you have a buyer that doesn't buy from you. You go and show them 10, 15, 20 houses, they change their mind. 3 months later, they found someone else and they did end up buying a property. It happens. So it's important to know the difference between clients and closings. The next is if for those of us that have been in the business for at least a year or longer, you want to look at your last 12 months of averages. So, for example, and you want to have an average number that you know you close per month for those of us who've been in the business for at least a year. In my opinion, three is the lowest, but and that's setting a low bar. But three closings in a month is 36 closings in a year. So at least we know what we're able to do, and you always want to keep adding 10%, 50% growth to that. The other one is open houses. Many of us don't do open houses. How many of you guys with either a thumbs up or an emoji are doing open houses, or a thumbs down if you don't do them, or maybe if you don't person? Okay, so here's what's cool. Small percentage of us do them. So the ones that do them, you're gonna win. The ones that don't do them, you're either making enough money, which is all good, meaning you've done them in the past, you don't need to do them again. You're complacent, you're comfortable making the money you're making, so more isn't really mandatory. It'll just be a bonus, and you don't want to strive for that bonus. But let me share with you what's amazing. If you're able to add an open house every single Saturday to your schedule, and it doesn't mean you have a listing every week, because some of us don't have listings. I get it. But there are listings there that are ready for open houses. I get calls every week from agents that I don't know that will text or call me and say, Sina, I see you got a listing here in Laguna Beach and you don't have an open house this Saturday. Can I run one for you? So they put me in a position to either say no or expose the property to people, which is what I want to do. But sometimes the owners, if especially if it's owner occupied, it's not easy to have an open house every weekend. But I want to tell you that if you were to grind every Saturday with an open house, you would be adding 52 days of results to your year. Some people don't recognize that. But what would you do with 2 extra months of income? Would that help you in the year? Would it be a significant difference? And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, every Saturday there's 52 of them in a year. So if you're not working any Saturdays now, you're adding literally 52 days of work to your year with the same 12-month span. And all of us, hopefully, we're making money when we work. So that's an extra 2 months of income. These are small little brain hacks that make a big difference. Know your database conversion. And if you guys are running a business without a database, meaning, hey, I don't have a CRM, I'm running on Excel, it's in my phone, that's a huge flag. Especially most of us with brokers, we should have a database provided by our teams, by our uplines, or by our brokerage. If not, invest in one yourself. But your CRM, knowing the database conversion is very important. So usually in our space, we're getting one deal from every 25 contacts right now that we add to our database. So what do I mean by adding to our database? So for example, 500 contacts, that's 20 deals a year. You want to make sure every single day, the easiest thing you can do is adding names and numbers to your database. Meaning everyone I come across, like if you guys go out and eat, get the server's name, get their number, say, hey, look, I'm assuming, do you own a home in this area? Like, for example, servers, how do we get their contact? And if you're wondering, well, why servers, Sina? How do we know if they have the money to buy, if they're renting, not interested, etc. I don't know yet. but getting their name or number or their email or an ability to communicate with them will give me a lot more odds of making them a client or getting a referral from them than just assuming that they're not the right prospect. So one thing that I do is I don't focus on turning prospects into clients. I first focus on turning suspects into prospects. So everyone to me is a suspect. And everyone is going to get pitched to me, especially wherever I spend money. I'm going to try to find a way to make money. So if we're going to the dry cleaners, unless it's the same dry cleaner every single time, they better know what we do. Our business cards better be in their shops. But when we're going to get coffee, when we're going to get lunch, when we're going through the drive-through, wherever it is, and us as entrepreneurs, as agents, we should be out in the field as much as we can because we don't make money in the office. We know this. That's the only place where you're not making money. So we're always out in the field. And when you're out in the field, you got to make sure to get uncomfortable to pick up names and numbers and always have a value. So, for example, if it's a server, they do a great job, you compliment them. Hey, by the way, Brian, thank you for taking care of us today. Just by odds, I'm in the real estate space. Do you own your house in this area yet, or are you renting? That's the question I ask. Oh man, and usually the answer we get is common, is universal. Oh, it's so expensive to buy right now. No, I'm renting. Why do you ask? Well, you know what? I help people that are renters convert to buyers, if not becoming investors. Hey, you know what? Give me your number, or if you want your email address, I'm going to drip you some really great information that you can either keep or delete at your preference. What's the best way to get it to you? That would be my pitch. And that might be just one person that day. But if I do it 3 times, I got 3 new people in my database that day. 5 days that week, if I'm 2 days off, that's 15 people I added to my database that week. That's 60 people I added to my database that month. That's a 720 people I added to my database that year. Now, that might not sound like a lot to you, but I want you to know everyone that I add to my database, I get data from them later on too. I have campaigns that I go to them. Hey, look, you're not looking to buy right now, but who do you know that is? Hey, you're happy renting. A lot of renters that I know, I help them start investing with 1, 2 bedroom condos. Is that you? No. How about your buddies? Do you golf? Who are the other 3 people that you usually golf with? Like these are all off the cuff because this is how we build our business. I started in the business broke without any money. So for those of us that are like, I can't afford leads, I can't afford mailers, do the things that you can afford to do because these are the things that are make us uncomfortable, but will move us forward to getting deals. And you want to stack the database. Your marketing spend. Not everyone can afford to spend on marketing, but those of us that can, you want to know what your ad spend is. So, for example, if you're spending $2,000 a month on ads, how many deals are you getting from your ads? Let's just use the example $2,000 of ads is getting you 2 deals. So, if you know 2,000 is getting you 2 deals, then from the money you throw into your ads, you're able to predict how many deals you get. And of course, we know what the commission is on the end of every single deal. So, that's how you calculate the money factor. Listing inventory. Agents will close 70 to 80% of the listings that they take. And remember, engrave this terminology. You must list to exist. So if you're deciding I want to be a buyer's agent, a listing agent, be a listing agent if you haven't made the choice yet, because listings will bring you buyers. Next thing, are you a seasonal agent? Are you in a seasonal town? Like, for example, Arizona, I know that there's snowbirds, Florida, similar. So it's seasonal. California, we're kind of all year round. So we don't have to worry about seasonal results. Then your GCI, your listings times your average price or your closings times your average price times your commission percentage is going to give you your GCI. So, for example, 20 closings a year at 900,000 per deal times a 2.5% commission, which is kind of the average commission out here in California. I know some of us are like, we don't discount our commissions. I'm keeping it real. 2.5% commissions is still good. Then you're looking at 450,000 UCI. Thank you for that, by the way, team. Any questions so far? And if I speak real fast, my apologies to you. I get very fired up over this subject matter. But any questions so far? Anything there is, you can unmute, ask, or someone says, can you share those metrics, please? You might have texted that while I was speaking. So did I go over those details, Rochelle, for the metrics? Roro, you get those?
You did, but yeah, I didn't get
If it's a specific, go ahead and ask me, and I'm sure it'll help someone else.
well those metrics that you were saying to figure out the cost per dollar, like, our activity and
Okay,
what that
so
dollar cost is.
So I'll tell you, everything that you do that is towards getting a deal is the activity item that I would place a dollar factor to. So for example, I'm not a big door knocker, right? Have I door knocked? Absolutely. Will I do it again if I need to? But it's not my number one preference because it's not the highest and best use of your time. However, when I have a listing, I will make sure to not only door knock like 20 houses in that neighborhood, but the 5 houses that surround my listing, I'm going to door knock 100%. They have to know who I am. And I don't know if you guys are doing this, but if you go to if you're hosting an open house, like if you don't have a lot of listing activity and you can get an open house, you should be able to. You should be able to reach out to any top producing agent or any agent who has a listing and you see that they have an open house vacancy, like they're not having one that weekend. Usually agents are keen if they trust you to say, sure, I'd love for you to run it for me. But let's say you get an open house opportunity or you have your own listings. What many agents fail to do is they just go to their open house and they stack it ready for sale and presentation. I go an hour earlier and I'm going to spend 30 minutes meeting 5 neighbors of the open house. Who? The house on the right, the house on the left, and usually 3 across the street if the house is set up traditionally. And what I do is I don't go to those 5 houses and sell them my services. They will earn my services through the process, but I actually knock on the houses and I start the conversation off with an apology because no one knocks on your door to apologize. And I knock on the door and I say, "Hey, Ryan, thanks, Ryan, by the way, for partaking, McGinnis." I say, "Hey, Ryan, my name is Sina. I wanted to put a face to the name. I'm helping Steve, your next door neighbor here, sell this house. It's a beauty, and I wanted to apologize in advance for any traffic that's going to come by. I wanted to make sure that you have a face to a name and I'm not a stranger. And if there's anything that I can do for you, if there's inconvenience, here's my name and number. Please call me." That's it. I don't tell them, by the way, do you want to sell? Can I tell you how much your house is? That will come later if they're not interested, if they don't poach that from me. That'll come later. But that's my intro. And then I do this and they watch me do it to all the 5 neighbors. And then sometimes there's someone walking their dog that crosses during that time. That person's going to get the same pitch by me, but I'm going to apologize by assuming they live really close, though they could live a block away or 6 houses down. I just assume, hey, you're one of the next door neighbors? No, I'm not. Oh, okay. Well, I just want to apologize in advance. And I pause. Why? Well, just in case there's a lot of traffic coming in today, I did a lot of marketing to get this home sold for Steve and them. It's beautiful. My open house is going to open up in 45 minutes. Come by, check it out. We're going to have some cookies or some water, whatever it is, some refreshments, maybe music in the back. Whatever it is you're uh, staging or investing in, you sell those factors, but more importantly, you're courteous to the community. And that's how you plant your flag because your competitors, they're not doing that. They're going there saying, "Hey, I got an open house here and many neighbors who wanted to know how much their house is worth. Can I bring you a complimentary CMA?" Nothing's wrong with that, but that's what they're all hearing. So you earn the respect by coming in with an apology and not a sale. So that, for example, Roro, I think you asked, those door knocks, they all have a value. So for us, every door knock came out to $50 to $75. What do I mean by that? When we knock on 100 doors that month, and you get one deal, you simply divide that one deal you got from the door knock by the 100, and that'll tell you the average value of every door knock. And every door knock has a value. Does that make sense, Roro? Did I lose you?
No, no, no. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that
You're
makes
welcome.
sense.
And the same happens with phone calls. Our phone calls, every phone call was 75 cents to $2.25 per call. So it was 75 cents for the people who didn't have the closing skills or less closing skills. And then the better you were on setting appointments, the more that phone call was of value. Okay, it all depends on how bad you want it. And you guys might have heard this before, and I don't want to make up cliches, but the reality is that if you own your results, if you own your business, you forecast by dictating on paper, putting it out there. This is how much I'm going to make this month, not by luck, but by the activity. I'm going to make 20,000 this month. Then you start 30 days ahead, knowing what you have to do every single day to make 20,000 by the end of the month. And if you fail, you'll still make 15. And if you crush it, you'll make 30. And then you keep challenging yourself to increase this number. But if you play off a whim of, well, it depends on how the month goes. It depends on how my mailer results are. Well, let's see if I get a good lead this month. You're leaving your results up to all these other factors, when in reality, it's all the ownership of activity. Fair enough? Let me give you guys numerous ways of generating business, and then we can open it up to some Q&A before it ends. One, open house activity, and anything that is, I don't want to say below you, like I've already done that, or the ego there prevents you from wanting to do it. Just ignore it. But some of us need this. So open house every weekend. Don't ask yourself, why should I do one? Ask yourself why you're not doing one. There's only two types of seniors, and I'm going to share this with you because I spent 20 years helping seniors plan for a stronger retirement. And there's only two types of seniors that I work with. Those that are struggling, they can barely make it on Social Security and they might have multiple jobs or their kids have to support them, which is all good. There's reasons why they're in that predicament. Then there's those that are crushing it. They have more money they need, their legacy is going to be different. They take care of their kids, their grandkids, they might have multiple homes, etc. And if we're younger, if we have the years, 5, 10, 15 years before those senior years, then make that choice today of which one of those seniors you want to be. If you don't have those years, then it's not to offend you. We just might have missed that time and you have to put things in overdrive or work differently. But for the rest of us that are maybe under 59, you have that 5 years to grind as hard as you can, to never have to grind as hard as you can. It's almost like do the things that you don't want to do today to never have to do them tomorrow. That's literally what it is. And it comes down to ownership. I ask myself this question every single day. Would I follow me? Every day, at the end of the day, hey, Sina, based on your results, would you repeat that? Would tomorrow be a good day if you did the same thing again today? And be honest with yourselves. If it is, run that same play again tomorrow. If it's not, make a change. So the first thing is open house every weekend. 52 open houses. Add that to your schedule if you're not doing them right now. Circle prospecting around new listings. We kind of briefly talked about one of the strategies. That's one way. The others, you can hit up more folks. Just sold mailers. Um, People underestimate the value of doing a deal. If you guys are not having a lot of listings, but you help the buyer close on a deal, get mailers in that area that you just sold this house. It's not just the listing agent that gets that opportunity. You help the buyer buy that house, you really sold it. So just sold. And then start generating business in that area. Help buyers buy in areas that you want to plant your flag in. Call past clients every quarter. One thing that I make it mandatory, this is why CRMs are important, is to have a 52 touch policy. So those of us that are running a 12 touch rule, a 20 touch rule, ask yourselves, why am I not touching them more often? Like if you're saying, well, Sina, I don't want to harass my clients. They don't want to hear from me 52 times a year. You're correct if you're doing the same touch every single week. But if you send them a mailer twice a month, maybe if it's your past clients once a month, there's 12 touches. A birthday call, not a birthday card, a birthday call. Call them because as we get older, we get less calls on our birthday. And usually, if we're still around our loved ones, our friends and family, if we're blessed to do that on our birthday, they're going to be, who the hell's calling you? We're all here. And when they get off the phone, they're like, that's my real estate agent. Oh my God, what a good guy. My real estate agent doesn't call me. I don't even have a real estate agent. Oh, what's their name? We're looking to buy a house. Be that person because that birthday call could put 10 to $20,000 in your pocket. And if you want to follow up with a birthday card ahead of time, hey, it's someone's birthday month, happy birthday in the beginning of the month. You stack all your clients' birthday months and you send out birthday cards, generic ones, in the beginning of the month to all those folks. But that call is important. Then a text. These are all the different touches. So when you're doing the mailer, you're doing the birthday call, you're doing the seasonal mailings, the holiday mailings. Happy holiday, happy Halloween with the witches or with the pumpkins on the card. Then you got the Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah. Whatever it is, know these different details of your clients, what they celebrate. If they have pets, they just gave you another touch. If they have kids, they give you another touch. Send them to the birthday, send them to the kids' birthdays. We celebrate our clients' kids' birthdays by sending a birthday wish to the parents because our birthdays really belong to our moms. So like think about that concept. The pups' birthdays. Hey, I know it's Spike's birthday this month. Happy birthday, Spike. And the parents like, man, that's cool. It's only you and Chewy who sends us a birthday card. These are the differentiators, and you're doing 52 touches. So find ways of how to do more, not how to do less. Steve Jobs lived this theory before he passed to Apple. And his concept and philosophy, you can Google this and YouTube the video, but it's called just one more thing. So every time he ended all of his meetings, his board meetings, his presentations, his Apple conferences, he said one more thing, and he would introduce one more thing from Apple. But in the same concept, he was telling his staff to just do one more thing every single day before you call it a day. One more call, one more door knock, one more pitch, one more networking function, shake one more hand. It makes a big difference. Wow, I've only gone through four of these strategies so far. Expired listings, they're low-hanging fruits. I know we hear this all the time, but it's all about who calls the expired first. And we also have a different approach for expireds. When we call expireds, we call them early, the morning they expire, meaning from 8. Some people call it 7:30, 7:40. That's too early in my opinion, but we call from 8 to 9 o'clock and we call with an apology. We want to be the first to apologize. And usually they're like, why? We're calling to apologize because your phone's going to get inundated with folks that are in my business today. I wanted to prepare you for what you're about to go through. By the way, my name is Sina. I specialize in expired listings. Listen, Steve, when we hang up today, you're going to get 15 to 30 more calls from agents. But I want to tell you the difference between me and the calls you're going to get. And then you go into your pitch, or you can downplay the follow-up calls. You're about to get called from all these rookie new people that really don't know what they're doing. They have commission breath. All they want to do is come and try to make some money from selling your home. I specialize in expireds. Let me tell you three things that I do differently real quick. Do you have time to hear them now, or you want me to swing by on Tuesday and share them with you in person? Like this, that would be my pitch, but it started with an apology. Any questions so far, team? I got 3 minutes. I want to open up to you guys for anything specific that I can help you with instead of rapid fire with like where we're at so far. And by the way, with either an emoji, thumbs up, was any of this of value so far? What I care most about is your time. You all give me 30 minutes of your time making crazy money, and I don't look at it just 30 minutes. I look at it like a multi-million dollar meeting today. Thank you so much. Jessica and one head nod, another one. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. So let's dive in, team. Any Q&A? Brandon, I think you had your hands up. You had a question there? No? Okay. You guys can unmute if there's a question. Thank you, Joel. Thank you for all the emojis. Any questions, team? Nazar? No questions?
Yeah, I got a question. How would you do like promotion and stuff? Because I'm just starting out. So like if I was gonna start doing open houses, how much promotion? Where am I doing my outreach? And because I don't have a lot of
Right
followers,
on.
nothing like that.
Prashan, congratulations. When you say you just started, how long and what area are you from? Where do you build your business at?
I'm in I guess the Inland Empire. I live in Paris, but I'll work anywhere that they need me to work. But
Right on.
yeah, I
All right.
started like 2 months ago.
Right on. So let me tell you, if I'm Krishan and I'm going to do open houses, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Paris. I'm going to go to the top 3 or 5 landmark locations that people in Paris recognize. I'm going to go in front of those landmarks and I'm going to make a 15 to 30-second intro video of a property that I have coming up next week on Saturday that I can't wait for you to see. And I'm going to make sure that the background matches. So probably I'm assuming in Paris, a lot of cool ranches. I don't know if there's any wineries there. I don't know Paris that well, but I know there's dirt biking and stuff in that area. And I love the smile, but whatever it is that like you're like, Cena, this is Paris, whether it's cows or whatever it is, that's probably what I'm in front of to do. Because I want to attract the people that want to live in Paris, not like shock the people that saw a good deal and they're like, well, I don't like the area. So I'm going to make videos from the landmarks that I'm doing the open house in. And I will keep those videos not only to drive people boosting for the open house, that would be my promos, but I would use those videos in the future. I would show them to my clients when they say, well, why should I hire you to sell my house? Well, let me show you 4 videos I made for the last open house that sold in 3 weeks or sold above ask. This is what I did for them because your competition isn't doing this. Of course, you're on this call, you're going to do it, but every city has these landmarks. They got the light post, they got the flagpole, they got maybe the famous high school team, whatever it is. If you're a small town or big town, they got these landmarks. And when you go in front of them and you pitch your video, whether it's open house, and then do 3, 4 videos there, make them for your arsenal in the future. Do an intro video of how you specialize in the area, like maximize the time. That one video will be for the open house, but make 3 or 4 more videos that you can use later. Make a holiday video from that same landmark. Hey, team, Merry Christmas. And it could even be the summer, but you're going to deploy it in Christmas. Be that thoughtful of how you're building your future in this business. Does that help, Krishan? And that's just one strategy. Then the other is talk to escrow, talk to lenders, talk to your title reps, get them involved, have them spend money within RESPA rules to help you get this business sold, and that you're going to work with them on the escrow deal or title should your seller support you. Did that help?
Yeah, that helped. Thank you.
Right
Appreciate
on.
it.
You're very welcome. I got time for one more. And you guys got time for no more? I like your style. Damn.
What is the objection do you think that, or the drunk monkey that agents have in not doing the work?
It's multiple, but I'll tell you from my experience, usually it's because people either they lack confidence and they need someone to remind them who they are. And I always want to tell you guys, if you don't have that someone who reminds you who you are, go back to remembering why you wanted to get your license. Like it's so crazy how we're willing to stress ourselves out, spend money, go get our license, especially for those of us who failed multiple times and we still end up being victorious with this license. Like go back to that moment and remind yourself, what did you want to do once you got this golden ticket? That's the first. And then once you have that reminder, put a value on that license. Because for me, my license, my broker's license is a seven-figure license. It cost me $470 to get it, which was a deal, but it's making me seven figures. And that's the first, the confidence part. The second is not willing to fail forward. I want you to know that the reason why I'm so fired up on this call and I'm 23 years in entrepreneur sales is because I've been kicked and beat up so many times. I'm invincible in this space. It's not cocky, it's not ego. I'm not afraid of no. I laugh at every rejection. I laugh every time I'm cussed out. If someone gives me a racist or prejudiced rant, I laugh and I smile with them. You're right. I am this guy. Sorry. Hope you have a better day. Hey, when you're ready to change that mindset, call me. I'm here. I'm ready for you. Once I say your neighbor's house, come by and say hi at the open house. Like I'm all about that. The more of an underdog I am in this scenario, the more I thrive. Because for some reason, easy to me doesn't feel rewarding. But when the challenge is there and I win from that challenge and then you get paid on it, the money's the bonus. The challenge of like I did this is what it's all about. So mindset, Nazari goes to mindset. And most importantly, if you are like not doing those activity items, get uncomfortable by finding somebody else who's also not doing them and say, listen, why don't you and I hold each other accountable? Either we're going to go run this together if you want some days so it's more fun, or why don't we check in with each other every evening and call each other out for not delivering? This is what I want to do these next 30 days. You tell me what you want to do. Find an accountability partner. But it comes down to that one question. Would you follow you? Like that person who's not willing to do them? The answer is no. Because if everyone was to follow you and have those results, we're in a lot of trouble. Awesome question, Nazar. All right, team. I want to thank you again for your time. Connect with me out there on Instagram. Say hi. I'll follow you guys back. Let's build this business as an industry team. There is so much abundance that as long as we can help lift one another up, we will outgrow those that aren't doing this. And believe me, I agree, this is a lonely industry. So let's not make it lonely. We got such a great network like this to connect on, have these calls, and be able to lift one another up, guys. Be safe and thank you for your time. I appreciate you all.
Thank you, Sina. I appreciate you. Those that want more of him, if you guys come to the Thrive at Five event, he will be our keynote speaker. So super excited about having him there. Hopefully you guys will be there as well. So anyway, have an amazing week. We'll talk to you guys next masterclass next Thursday.